Hello and welcome to Aaron Boyd Studio again. I am your host, Aaron Boyd, and as promised, I'm going to go a little more in depth with the pop-up book today. And I just finished a show that I was a part of with other fantasy artists in Kenosha, Wisconsin. This piece is the cover from the pop-up book, which was really the only piece that could be framed in a pop-up book because, as you know, every page is filled with hundreds of pieces. The cover is one flat illustration, so I framed that one. And this is I would say this is about maybe 2 feet long, oh, a little more than 2 feet, 24, let's say 24 by 18 inches. I'll show you the printed cover after this. I believe I worked this at about 150%. As you know, with publishing, when you print something, it's better to work larger with the original art because when you reduce it down, it holds together better, the colors, the tightness, the richness of the artwork. I'm going to show you that next, but I wanted you to see this a little bit first. And as usual, I'm doing this as a little bit of a guerrilla video where I'm just doing it really straightforward, not a lot of fancy editing, because I just want to get as many of these up for you as possible. So here, you can see the final cover, which actually, this was all one piece of art if you recall. And one of the pages I want to show you, I didn't go into too much depth with last time, is each page in this book focuses, I wouldn't say focuses on a different theme, but it has a different feel. Like the first page is Jack Be Nimble. What we were going for on this one is height. We wanted that to be its aesthetic. Whereas, like with, I would argue, this page, the aesthetic was much more simple, but it's just about beauty. We wanted something beautiful for this page. And on Humpty Dumpty, movement was the goal with this page. And there are many things on here that move. For instance, if you lift this out, you can see these pigs are waiting to catch Humpty in a frying pan, eggs and bacon. One of my favorite movements, actually I'll save that one for you for last. It's another movement, you open this door, the king pops out. There's also another little door here, but I won't go through all the doors. So, it's you'd have to get an original copy, but these sheep are holding the lion's cape. And you can see this sheep in here is actually going up as it's lifted. This movement is beautiful. Humpty does a rocking motion. And also, with the rocking motion, his hat flies off with surprise. That's one of my favorite movements in the whole book. And then you also get some movement here. It's going to be hard to show. Let's see if I can bring it up to you this way. The horse are all the king's men and all the king's horses. When you open the book and close it, you can see there's a movement there. They go back and forth. Simply beautiful, and again, that's really largely due to the talent of Andy Barron, the paper engineer. As I explained in the other video, my job in this, as I would tell people, is if I were an architect, I can make a beautiful building, but you really need an interior designer to bring the rooms to life. And with a pop-up book, you know, the paintings are all mine, and I might even sketch up on a page like, oh, can we do this, can we do that? But it's the paper engineer that comes in and figures out the structures and makes it all work. Also, as promised last time, the last pop-up book you may recall I showed you just had blank spaces here. These books go in they would tell a story in a regular pop-up book. This was actually an annual report, though, so the company used this to show, you know, sales and various other things that they wanted to tout. The company is Acuity. They sell insurance largely to companies, I believe. So if you own General Electric and you want your cars insured, that's something they would do for you. They had a very good year the previous year, so they were able to spend a little bit more on their annual report. And what I did was, even in here, there's a lot of little artwork. It's kind of hard to see. But I brought elements of the actual page into this. So you can see the lion door knocker here. Also repeats on there. One of the King's Men's hats is on the inside there. The colors also match basic themes throughout the piece. So in this piece it's violet and this ochre to tie that in. That's due to the art director Andy Forrester, who's always thinking on another level. And here you can see that's little Humpty longingly looking off into the distance from behind. Okay. And I think I'll talk a little bit real quick about this one as well. This is a pretty complex one. This is Little Bo Peep. See if I can zoom in on her. And she's in the Bavarian Alps, Austrian Alps, whichever. I was in Germany actually a few years ago and just loved it. Loved everything about it, had a wonderful time. And the art director, who was a huge fan of The Sound of Music, which actually takes place in Austria, but still the Alps, had asked me if I could do something with like kind of the Von Trapp family as sheep. So these guys here are the Von Trapp family. Those of you from Wisconsin will appreciate this. In this cave here, it's hard to see, there are some sheep playing cards, and they're playing a game called Sheep's Head. The only people in the world who still play Sheep's Head are Germans and Wisconsinites. That's one of the fun things you get to do when you do your own book, is you get to add little stuff to it. During this project, the paper engineer, let me show this real clearly. There's two sheep climbing up the back here. The paper engineer during this project really became enamored with sheep and decided to adopt two sheep. And these are actually the two sheep that he adopted. I painted them and incorporated them into the back of the piece. I don't know if this can quite comes out here, but that white mountaintop in the background there, that's actually a sheep's head as well. These are some of the fun things you can do when you're doing artwork, is you bring a lot of yourself to it. You know, your experience, your travels. As I said, I was in Germany, and I love the architecture and the wilderness and the people. So I try to bring a lot of that in here. This piece, we did a lot of extra movement things. Here you can see that the gondola goes up and down. Originally, there's a sheep here on a little inner tube. He was to move originally, but this was a very expensive and time-consuming project. And that was one of the things we had to cut out to save a little bit of money. Here, I'll show you one last thing on here. This is the Indiana Jones sheep. He slides down on a rope to a pot of gold. Not really in the original Little Bo Peep, but when you put a bunch of artists in a room, we tend to do what we want a little bit. But the client was very happy, and as I said, I've done 21 books to date. I don't like to pick favorites. This was one that I really got a lot out of, though, as far as enjoyment. A lot of positive feedback. And I think most artists like the classics. And so to get into a Mother Goose type thing was wonderful. Anyhow, I will come back to this one again later on, but I don't want to take up all the time with this one. Next time I'm going to get to some of my earlier books that I've done, and as I finish up my current book, Jin Jin and the Forbidden City, I'll start uploading some videos on that as well. But thanks again for watching. If you like my work or have any questions, you're free to contact me. You can find more of my work at my website, which is www.aaronboydart.blogspot.com. My name is spelled AARONBOYD and art.blogspot.com. Please let me know if you like what you see here, and I'll keep loading videos periodically. Thanks a lot. Take care.